Hello everyone and welcome back to the classroom of Starsnipe, where today we will be learning more history. I got an awesome lesson in store for you guys, and totally accurate battle simulator. Yes, that's the name of it. And with a totally accurate history lesson coming along right with it. So without further ado, everyone, I would like to welcome to you Attila's hordes. So today we're going to be talking about Attila the Hun. We mentioned him a little bit in the Greek unit that was a couple episodes ago, and how Alexander was finally defeated by him. Some of you guys kind of misdid my claim. You're like, that's so false. I got a time machine. Okay, I went back in time. I literally saw Attila kill that man. Okay, so we're good here. We're good, right? We're good? Okay, got it. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about Attila, who was known mainly for his barbarian hordes. So I've placed a relatively representative barbarian horde, and we're going to try to recreate one of those battles between the hordes of barbs and, well, we just got a small Greek unit that they may have caught off guard. So without further ado, let's see what this horde is able to do against these poor spearmen. It's not looking good for the spearmen, to say the least. They are going to get beaten to death. So this is the strategy that the hordes employed. They would ensnare them like a protozoa ensnaring a, look at that, they're like climbing on top of each other. It's literally a stockpile. And what they would do is literally ensnare and capture it like a protozoa, like a tiny organism eating another organism, and they would just eat them up. Like, they didn't even hit, like, they hit them with the clubs to soften them up. After that, they would literally just devour them from the inside. So we're gonna go ahead and try to give Alexander and his armies a little bit of a better chance here with their, we're not going with the porcupine formation yet. This is more of a drawn out spike strip that the police actually employ nowadays. The police were inspired by the Greek tactics of having a long line of spikes in the form of these giant toothpicks. And we can see the hordes here continue their strategy of the ensnarement of the enemy, and it never looks good. They literally just go on top of them, and these hordes are deadly for that exact fact. This is why Attila was so lethal. However, Attila would occasionally lose battles. You might ask yourself, how? Well, whenever the Romans decided to knock at Attila's doorstep, they had themselves some very, very useful weapons, and they also had themselves a couple over here, a couple of shieldmen as well. They had their turtle formation, which they could potentially utilize, but they did not always do that. Instead, here we got kind of the basics of what they got going, and they would have ballistas protected by their shields, and then the ballistas would try and thin out the barbarian hordes before encounters did happen. And as you can see, barbarian hordes did not fare well once area of effects came into play. However, they are able to defeat the shields relatively easily, and while this does do more damage to the horde still has would still occasionally come out on top, and it appears that in this battle, the horde will also come out on top. They'll get to the ballistae and call it a day, really, and then just have to, oh, the ballistae they've convinced the ballistae, they've commandeered them to attack their own men. Look at this. I saw this guy get shot by a ballista, and then this man's just getting beat with a club. And we got one ballista left, and that thing is not lasting long. And as you can see, the hordes continue their reign, truly lethal, and there is a reason they were such a powerful people. However, occasionally, the hordes would have to fight the Mongols, right? Because the Mongols existed right around the same time period when you really consider it. And they were also, that thing doesn't even have wheels anymore, and the guy's still alive. Are we gonna take this guy out? Oh no, he's been dead. There was a guy over by the bush. Got it. But occasionally you would have to fight Genghis Khan in their kind of attack, because they were constantly battling over Eurasia and trying to be the greatest empire. So while we cannot properly recreate this due to the limitations of our creator, the Mongols were known for their horsemen. The closest thing we have to recreating the horsemen is chariots. What you're about to see is a murder of the hordes. 5 chariots versus 100 hordesmen, and as you can see, the chariots have yet to die, but they are just mowing down the enemy. The chariots are slowly dying, however, and in the end, they will be able to do some damage, but they might actually not be able to come out on top. Again, that's why Attila was so deadly. No matter what you threw at him, it never looked bright. However, we're going to go ahead and throw a large Roman battalion at them, and by large, I mean large. We're going to have 4 ballistae firing upon them, and we're going to see just how deadly the Romans truly were when they set their minds to defeating Attila. Because see, Attila would ultimately die at the hands. Well, no, he actually died at the hands of Napoleon when he built that time machine on his private island. But in the meantime, right, Attila came the closest to death. When he fought Alexander, that was a close battle, I can tell you that for sure. But it's also, oh, look at those big hits, those explosives. This horde is about to get something very bad. Oh, come on, fire, fire. Oh, no, they're gonna die. Oh, big hit. Yeah, no, this dude's definitely dead though. Well, Ripperoni. Ripperoni. It was a good run. It was a good run. But anyways, that is when he came closest to defeats, when the Romans decided to send many ballistae at him, but also he would occasionally have to dispatch himself with the Roman turtle formation. Another very deadly formation that was known for its brute force and just pushing through the enemy and being very protected while doing so. However, the barbarians and their ensnarement tactics were relatively close in terms of the damage they could cause. So we're gonna try to make this an even battle. We're going to give the barbarians a couple more troops here to kind of even up the money-wise. That's a couple more. There we go, pretty even there. And now we will get to see the barbarians in the beautiful frame rates of 10 frames per second on a good day absolutely charge these shields, and we will see these shields looking like freaking riot control. Riot control is actually inspired by the ancient Roman legions and there's turtle formations, but riot control would be inspired by that. Unfortunately, Attila gave no shits about riots. Attila would literally let riots happen because that's how he made his military strong. Like, if you rioted in Attila's city, like, some people might think, oh no, I'm gonna die, Attila's gonna come get me. Nah, Attila offers you a full-time job in the army. That's what he would do. If you tried to start a revolution, he would give you a job, and that's why it was so hard to usurp him, because he had all the revolutionaries on his payroll, right? Like, the revolutionaries, they got to do what they loved. They got to cause havoc and just ensnare people and attack giant shields, which is exactly what they loved to do. So they were happy. Attila was happy with a very advanced military, and there is little they can defeat him. And honestly, at this point, I don't even know if we have to start getting a little bit drastic. We got to start. Well, actually, no. What we're gonna do is, first things first, we're gonna skinny out some units here. Skinny out this southern section of the barbarians, right? We're gonna skinny out those units a little and give the barbarians what also made them strong. So when barbarians would attack cities, they would actually occasionally use catapults, because, I mean, they had to, right? I mean, how else was Attila gonna take a city? Just throw his men at a wall? He tried, didn't work too well. He would literally pick up his men and throw them at the wall, thinking it might chip away. It did, but it wasn't very cost efficient. Now, what he would do is then employ the use of catapults. And these catapults, we're just gonna go ahead and we'll put them up against our friends, our dear friends of the Napoleonic Empire. And Napoleon's gonna have a huge, huge cannoneer legion. And let's see if they can take out the horde. This is one of Napoleon's greatest armies we're seeing, and we're about to see them wreak some havoc. However, our peasants, I mean, our barbarians are probably gonna wreak even more havoc, although they're definitely getting thinned out. And if Napoleon was able to successfully time travel with this giant of an army, he may have very well won, but by the looks of it, the barbarians still come out on top, no matter how many catapults are amazing at taking out cannons. I didn't even realize this. This is, Jesus Christ, look at them fly. That's awesome, but that's where the catapults came in quite handy. So, let's pretend that these cannons, right, they're like the wall, right? They're the Great Wall of China here, and Attila's trying to take over it. That's the Great Wall. Attila wants to take it. He's got catapults. The catapults will destroy the Great Wall and chip away at it. And occasionally he would even like it's very hard to demonstrate. Like, this is, it says it's a totally accurate battle simulator. It's not actually totally accurate, but there's some inaccuracies we can't successfully do. But what he would occasionally even do is, literally, instead of firing giant boulders, he would load men into the catapults, right? He would give them a little bit of cushioning. He'd use some of that, like, he'd wrap them all in silk, because silk is so smooth. And what do we send next against them? Why don't we do a giant line of shields, and let's do a very large Roman legion. I almost said region. Blah. Very large Roman legion. Or actually, why don't we actually have a bit of a diversified army here, with multiples of everything. In between here, we're gonna try to actually build an army to defeat Attila and his hordes. So what we'll have is the shieldsmen, and arrows should be very effective against these guys. So we have that, and then We've spent about 1,600 there. But what the catapults would actually occasionally do is literally launch people over the walls, wrap them in silk so they have a soft landing, potentially even like pull an Assassin's Creed and try to shoot them like into hay bales that they might see from afar. And then from the inside, they would either, if they get in low-key like at nighttime, we're gonna see how this goes. This is gonna be murder, but still we're gonna see how it goes. But at like nighttime, if they're able to successfully shoot someone over, they would attempt to like start revolutions or that type of stuff and kind of just be low-key, you know, kind of like low-key chilling there and see what they can, the havoc they can cause. And once they did that, they would attempt to, you know, destroy it from within. However, if they could not get in stealthfully, that happened quite often, and they would usually just send them over in the middle of a battle. What they would then do during that battle is literally just send people over and attempt to ambush people. So like they'd actually like they'd cover them in mud too, so they kind of looked like just very misshapen boulders. So the enemy wouldn't think anything of it. They just think, oh, they missed. It landed inside the walls, didn't hit our walls. Well, fun fact, they did what they wanted. They sent the men over, and then from the inside, they snuck around as a boulder. They snuck around, like whether that be to like open the gates for the main hordes to get in, or they would even go in and attempt to not assassinate, but just cause some havoc from the inside, right? And our shieldsmen are still struggling here. They might, no, it was a close battle though. If we had a couple poachers, it might go quite well. And actually, this shield still has a chance. It's not a good one, but it is a chance. He's actually doing this surprisingly well. He's throwing himself at the catapult, but that's what they would do. And then from the inside, they would potentially open the gates during a battle, or they'd like climb up the walls and just, like I said, try to be all low-key like. And once they were inside, and then just like kill the archers that are attacking the army and just kill any opposition. And it was a very effective tactic, and it was one of the things that made him so great at taking cities. And this was the closest call we have yet had. Once we add in archers, that was Attila's weakness. That is what made Attila ultimately, you know, potentially lose a little bit, right? Attila, his greatest weakness, always has been, always will be archers. So what we will do here is attempt to recreate that and create legions of archers. Legions of them. And in the meantime, we will also have some, we'll send some footmen in, some Roman footmen here and there to just kind of try to draw the fire. And we'll see how this goes. It's a lot less expensive of an army, but they were able to do some goddamn work. So, we have the army of poachers. They'll begin raining hell on the army of barbarians, and hopefully, this is not looking good. This is definitely not looking good. Nope. Well, yeah, probably needed some more shieldmen, to be honest. That might have went better for us, but the hordes, their skin is as thick as a mollusk's shell. It does not get penetrated easily, to say the least. However, these archers, these poachers are still doing their thing, and there's still like a small battalion of them out here. They're attempting to fire people, and they might, no, the cannons are having none of it. The cannons are like, psych, see you later, dude. Ready for these guys are about to have a very bad day at the hands of the cannons. Oh god, I just want to see this happen. It's about to be really bad. Actually, they're close enough to the point where they might be able to survive, and if they can just do some, yeah, they took out one of the catapults, I think. And they just gotta take out a couple more, take out any enemies that are coming. Yeah, no, they don't see the sneak attack, and they've been clubbed over the head. Oh, friendly fire! Oh, no, the clubbing over the head continues. Oh, well, maybe friendly fire, I don't know. We got one poacher left. All right. Will this be, who's the great archer of like, who's the great archer of ancient times? I forget. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, he's dead. He's dead. See you later, Jim. You're done. You're done. Well, who was the great archer? I forget. I really do forget. Also, we're going to attempt to install some shieldmen instead and see if we can't do something here. And see if these shieldmen, spread them out a little bit, right? See if they can't draw a little bit of fire. A little bit more expensive of an army, but still not quite up to par with what the barbarians have. But if we take out a catapult or something, we could see how that goes. These poachers are... they're trying, man. Oh, Jesus Christ. We haven't broken the dimension all day, and now this is happening, of course. His, like, limbs are stuck. He's... you can still see his arms attached to this, trying to shoot it. Like, he's literally transcended this dimension. I think he's freaking Mr. Incredible. Oh, no, he's dead. He had, like, Mr. Incredible powers. Did you see how stretchy those arms were? God damn, not Mr. Incredible. No, what's the guy... who's the guy from the Fantastic Four with the really stretchy arms? There's one of those, right? I thought his name was Mr. Incredible. Or am I thinking of the movie The Incredibles? I have no clue. However, these poachers, they're doing a little bit better now that there are shields, and we may have finally found the army that defeated. Oh, big hit with the arrow. Can we get a big hit on the club? Oh, arrow in the back, no biggie. Come on, take him out. Nice. Oh, friendly fire. Well, look at, that's the face of a man who's been betrayed. Quite literally shot in the back by his best friend. I'm sorry, dude, but hey, A for effort, right? And there's still a cannon. No wheels at all. It's still attempting to shoot at people. Or no, did it finally die? I think it is dead. And now all we have is a couple barbarians. One is over there, what appears to be in prayer. Yeah, that appears to be something in prayer. And then we have this man attempting to shield himself from the rain gods and the rain that they will about to have. And then we have him and he's now entered one-on-one combat with a barbarian. What could possibly go wrong? Actually, scratch that. What could possibly even happen? Nothing. However, it does appear we are down to the last barbarian. And this, my friends, is the Roman army that finally was able to defeat Attila in a battle. But he didn't go and take over Attila. The Romans, they simply wanted to hold off Attila and the shenanigans that he could cause. And, to be honest, they did that. Once Attila saw he was occasionally losing battles, once the great Caesar and the Roman generals found out how to defeat him, spoiler alert, shieldsmen and archers, they were finally like, okay, we can keep him at bay. However, they actually went into negotiations then a little bit, right? So they sent some peasants to negotiate with each other, right? Sent 2 diplomats to negotiate. And when they were negotiating, they pretty much, Attila just requested, I will leave you alone, and I will even send you some of my own barbarians, which was actually funny because those barbarians are goddamn revolutionaries. So look at that. Look at that. Pow, 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 pow. Look at that. Look at the diplomacy going on right now. And ultimately, Rome was able to accept the deal, and they're like, okay. So, they accept the deal, they promised not to tell anyone of the secrets which had defeated Attila, and they didn't. They kept through on their promise, and Attila sent some of his infamous barbarians to the Roman army to support the shieldsmen. Where are the shields? There you go, to support the shieldsmen, right? And then they were protected. And then Rome knew that they were set. And then what Rome would do is next time they went to attack the Greeks, because they loved attacking the Greeks, man. They literally just like, at one point, the Romans just loved fucking with the Greeks, right? So they would have the help of the barbarians. And the barbarians, they were troublemakers, not gonna lie, because remember, earlier in the history lesson, they were literally revolutionaries that were paid by Attila. So occasionally they would cause a little bit of havoc here and there, but I mean, a little bit of havoc never hurt anybody, usually. So they would cause that, and there was a little bit of instability here and there, but ultimately Julius was able to get them to shut the fuck up, stop being a dumbass, and ultimately just get them to be kind of chiller. So that it took some work. He had to go ahead and pay them again to be a part of the professional army, because that's how you keep revolutionaries away. You pay them. And then the ones that didn't accept payment, well, things didn't end well for them, because occasionally you'd have the ones who didn't accept the payment, and they would, you know, they'd try to rebel, right? And, well, let's just recall, rebelling against the Roman Empire, rebellions didn't usually go over too well, because Julius was a goddamn hard ass, and, well, let's just say, more of Attila's men may have died in potential revolts than actually in the, in what happened in battles. So, Attila got to get rid of some of his most unstable political usurpers, while Rome was able to bolster its army with some of the good ones, get rid of the bad ones from the world, and ultimately be at peace with Attila. And then Attila would continue his shenanigans, but there's so many shenanigans that we might have to do in Attila Part 2 to kind of talk about the other shenanigans, because Attila, he lived for a long time, dude, hundreds of years, so he had a lot of shenanigans going on. He had shenanigans with the Roman Empire, the Greeks. We still got to reenact that little Greek battle, potentially. He had shenanigans with the Greeks. He had shenanigans with Napoleon for a little bit when he time traveled. That was a quick oversight in one of the last lessons. We could go more in depth on that. And there's just even civilizations we've yet to talk about. And trust me when I say there are civilizations we've yet to talk about, along with potential other things such as the great farmer revolts of like the Boxer, but no, that's wrong rebellion, but like the US experienced some revolts back in its early conception that pretty much involved farmers and usually whiskey being too expensive and that type of crap. And then they were put down. Unfortunately, we do not have the muskets to put them down. However, I do suggest I will talk to the totally accurate battle simulators that they should totally add in muskets because I need some gunfire, because I need some totally accurate gunfire. I've seen gunfire, I have not seen totally accurate gunfire. But other than that is gonna do it for this history lesson. Hopefully you guys had yourself an awesome day. Hopefully this video helped make it more awesome, and if not, I hope you go out and do something to make it more awesome, because I want you guys to look back on the day and be like, you know what? Today was a good day. That's always what I want you guys to be able to say. And I did just want to say, again, thank you guys for the immense amount of support on these videos. It is awesome going in, reading your comments, and just seeing how much you like these videos, and it's just crazy. So seriously, thank you guys. You are insane and probably the best community and audience I could potentially ever ask for. But without further ado, that is the history lesson for today, class. No homework, be free, go out, play, and do whatever kids do nowadays. I don't know, dude. I'm like 18, man. Okay, I've been history teaching for a long time, so that's gonna do it for me. Thank you guys for watching the video as always, and I will see you in the next history lesson.